So I've already recorded this video once and I completely messed up OBS and it all came out terrible. So I'm half a bottle of champagne into the night, a little celebration going on. But here I am recording this Q&A. Hey everyone, it's Wunderriku, the songwriter and composer for Gawr Gura's latest stream OP song. You may also know me from songs like ChikuTaku by Amelia Watson, Astrogirl by Tsukumo Sana and Snail's House, Ghoul in My Way by Caitlin Myers and 49 Star, as well as BGM like for the ChikuTaku video game and Jubiphonic stream music, and also a few fan projects that I've done over the years. To celebrate the release of I wanted to do a Q&A, so I asked all you guys on Twitter and Reddit what questions you want answered. Some of these, admittedly, I can't answer due to contractual stuff and all that, but I will try my best to answer all the questions that I can. Garrett asks, what was your initial reaction to the call or email to help with these projects? So it went a little bit like this. Esteban asks, anything you can tell us about the brainstorming process for the song? This ties in a bit to a lot of the questions I've had about what the inspirations for the song as well, but very early on, Gura sent me some references, and those included songs like the Nichijou opening theme and the Lucky Star opening theme, and as it happens, and those two songs in particular are probably two of the most influential songs in my own music, so it felt like a perfect match. Similar with ChikuTaku as well, both of these songs really draw from that 2000s era of anime openings. Valencio asks, how many versions of the song did you go through till you settled on the final one? Yeah, like a couple, a few, several, half dozen or so. Not many. I mean, what is a version, really? That's the question. Like, what is a version? It's just a, iteration, and they're always changing. Like, so maybe like a couple or something. Not too many. Ace of the Fire Fist asks, are you cover corps staff or just contracted? I am an independent songwriter, creator, producer person. I do not work for Hololive. They just ask me to do things every now and then, and I keep saying yes. Question from Alamas Lamas, who's an amazing animator. I've been a fan since the original uploads of your Gura and Ame fan songs. It's awesome to see how far things have come. I'd like to ask, is there any possibility Reflection or Mystery of Love could be sung by Ame-same, or at least a full version of these songs? That's really sweet that you remember these. I'm always kind of blown away by people who remember these songs. I think as fan songs, they serve their purpose. I wrote them very early on in my career, and they were very much based on those early first few months since they debuted. And since then, they've both grown so much as people, as streamers, as entertainers, and as vocalists. And I kind of see ChikuTaku and as successors to these songs, but I hope you can still go back and listen to those songs fondly. I know I do. Irfan Bakri asks, how do you personalize each song to each talent? Well, basically, I just become their fan for a bit. I watch their streams, read stuff about them online, and I get a good idea of what the artist is all about, the vibe that they have on stream, the relationship they have with their audience, and from that start to build a picture of like who this person is. And then also, believe it or not, I just ask them, because usually that's the most direct way of finding these things out. The biggest thing that I've often found is actually people tend to know more what they don't want than actually what they do want. So oftentimes I'll just kind of throw things at them and I'll get like, no, not that, no, not quite, but maybe this. And every single time someone goes, it's not that thing, you get one step closer to the actual thing that they want. So that's kind of my method. Techibana writes, man, I would like just 5% of your chord gymnastics. So by far the most requested question that I got was, how much involvement do the talents have in the songs? And to be honest, it changes from artist to artist. Every talent who I've worked with, Hololive or not, all care so much about the songs that they were putting out. They really want these songs to represent who they are, what they stand for, and their relationship with their fans and with their audience. So they're all so heavily invested in it and have a lot of involvement. With Gura gave me lots of feedback on quite a lot of the lyrics. Every Stream Has Crashed was originally trying to make a splash, but OBS has crashed. We thought probably best not to mention OBS by name, but the great thing was Tanari actually put OBS on the screen, so that little Easter egg made it in, and that made me happy. Tragor writes, how did you first get into music making? Well, when I was a wee lad at school, I actually wanted to be an animator and an illustrator, and that didn't go well. I kept on getting better grades in music. So when I got to sixth form college, which is the age 16 to 18 here in the UK, I kind of failed art, but I was doing super well in music and music technology. I discovered that I could produce my own music. So from start to finish, I could write a song, record it, produce it, and release it, and be completely self-sufficient. And I kind of saw that as like, whoa, this is seriously the most important skill set that I could possibly have as a songwriter. But I did go on to study at university in music technology at a conservatoire of classical music. So I was one of the few people doing pop music, quote unquote, but it meant that I was surrounded by amazing talent, amazing musicians, and I was able to learn great production techniques to facilitate my songwriting. Oh, I've been forgetting to react all this time. I have reaction buttons. Look at these. Look at them go. Totally forgot I could do that. Zamu? Attempting to remember how to read hiragana. Not Googling a hiragana chart right now. Definitely not what I'm doing. Not Nu. I was close. Zanu! Right. Do you have any funny stories when making Gura's song? How was mixing Gura's vocal and giving her vocal directions? Well, there was another question as well that I got about, like, how does the demo process work for VTubers? Do I write it in sheet music or send vocal demos over? From my experience in popular music, not many people read sheet music, and it just makes more sense to record a vocal and send it over. So that's what I did. So actually, there are versions of me singing all of these songs in my best idol voice that do exist, and you are never hearing them. Ever. So I sent the vocal demos over to Gura, and then she did her thing with them and sent them back. But one of the really cool things was she recorded a couple of ad-lib tracks, and most of those ad-libs made it into the final track because they're just so fun. So you've got like the little like oh no and the hucha, and at the very end there's like this like same desu that's like high pitched, that kind of is there in the background too. All those little moments are really fun. And then in the like slow down, speed up bit as well, the like Zorba the Greek inspired bit, there's like 4 different takes of her vocal that are all layered over together, and one of them her voice is just cracking and breaking the entire time, but it's so good. Like, it adds so much life and personality to the song that like if you mute that track, that whole section sounds so lifeless compared to with it in, even though it's not like crazy loud in the mix, but just those little bits of personality add so much. Smile tea. This person says, is there any special stream moments that inspire you for the lyrics? I would say for I was trying to give like a general Gura vibe, and I didn't want to get into too many in-jokey specifics because that was kind of the role of the video. There's so many little Easter eggs dotted throughout the animation that just make that video incredible. But for the song, I wanted it to be a little bit more general, a little bit more like an overall, this is Gura's vibe, this is what you can expect going in. But that's not to say that there aren't like a few little in-jokes dotted throughout. There's a little mention to being hydrodynamic. There's the EN curse, the tech scuff. Little mention. I love how Tanari put little Ame in the background there. And of course there's Bloop. I mentioned Bloop. I love Bloop. Bloop doesn't get the recognition that Bloop deserves. So there's a little Bloop reference in there. Because I love Bloop. He's cute. He's so cute. Bungle says, wonderful work. I felt like those Scar horns returned from ChikuTaku. I love a good horn section. I will always put one in where I can. But it's definitely going back to that whole 2000s anime opening influence kind of style. There's so much iconic music from that time that's all got these great horn section parts. So it's not really like a Scar horn section in it's more influenced by that soul jazz, big band, J-pop kind of vibes of the 2000s. Advarcha asks, how long ago did you start working on it, and how long did it take to complete, and what were some of the challenges you had during the process? So the time it takes for these projects is around about between 5 to maybe like 9 or 10 months, which sounds like quite a long time, but that's often because these projects have a lot of different moving parts to them rather than just making a song. For example, there is Tanari Animation making a fully animated music video. That alone takes months and months of time. And for ChikuTaku as well, there was the video game too, which also took a long time as well. So often, you know, I'll be making the song for a few months and then things will go quiet for a little while the visual side happens for a while. and then right at the end of development, I come in to do the final mixes and final masters. And because of this reason, like, because it takes so long, these songs kind of, you know, it's a 9-month gestation period, so the songs feel like my babies a little bit. And so when they go out into the world, you know, I'm always a little bit nervous, but I'm always so taken aback by just how wonderful and lovely Hololive fans are. It's such an amazing community to be part of, and now I'm getting emotional. I think the wine is having its effect. In terms of challenges, pretty much 6 months of last year, during the time that I did Astrogirl, ChikuTaku, and started the demo for I didn't have a house. That's a slight exaggeration. My old landlord kicked me and my wife out of our house because they wanted to move in there. We had another place to move into 2 weeks later, but that 2 weeks ended up being 6 months. Luckily, we were able to live with my parents, but, you know, not the most ideal place to do work in. I had a small room that I was just working on headphones, so I was doing headphone-only mixes. And I also caught COVID in the middle of ChikuTaku. I remember that quite vividly, making the demo for that with a ridiculous fever in the middle of a heatwave. Probably not my smartest decision, but you never know. Sometimes inspiration strikes when you're hallucinating. Circle Trigon asks, a post of full lyrics would be appreciated. Cool. Here you go. And Epic Bowl of Ramen says, what are some of the smaller details in the song that you would like to highlight that may have gone unnoticed so far? Any Easter eggs, wordplay, etc.? My favourite little Easter eggs that are in there are actually little references that I made to my own song, Reflection, that first demo song that I put out there into the world to say, hey, I'd like to write some Hololive stuff. And that literally was me, like, putting my dreams out into the universe in the hope that the universe would listen. I did those demos, Reflection and Mystery of Love, because I wanted to write official Gura and Ame songs, and I knew I could. I knew I had it in me to do that, but I needed to show people that I could. So I made those songs, I put them out there, and thankfully the community responded. It's all come like full circle, just starting from that moment. So I really wanted to put in some little Easter eggs to that song that kind of started it all with Reflection. The biggest one is the dreams within our reach line. It's one of the opening lines of Reflection, and I made it one of the important kind of closing lines in the chorus of Slash Yes. It not only reflects like my dreams being within my reach by doing this and truly, like I said, coming full circle. Circle is so full. But also, it represents Gura's journey also. Just think about how much she's done since she debuted, the impact that she's had, the fact that, you know, Hololive are about to do the first ever VTuber concert thing outside of Japan in LA. It's nuts, it's absolutely nuts. And we all know that Gura is such an important part of that, and that EN VTubing would not be the same without her. So it's so true to her story too. Plan C says, is there a full version of I must know? No, there's no plans for that right now. It was always intended to be this 1.5-minute anime opening thing, and to be honest, I already went quite a lot over 1.5 minutes. That's a bit naughty. That's not to say there might not be a full version in the future at some point, but right now there's no plans. Lito asks, if there's one talent, Hololive or otherwise, that you haven't worked with yet, that you would want to work with, who would that be? That is really hard to answer. I'd basically love to work with all of the Hololive EN, if possible, but I'd really, really love to work with a JP artist too. Outside of Hololive, I'm a big Iron Mouse fan. I'd love to write a like operatic musical theatre tune for her, maybe for her and Booby to sing. Damn, I got through those way quicker than I did when I wasn't drunk. I already recorded this part, but I'll do it again. Massive thank you to everybody who had me involved in this project, to Gura, to the management at Hololive, to Tonari Animation for just doing the most incredible video that really made my dream come true. And thank you all for your amazing questions, for your amazing feedback. Big shout out to all the people who didn't ask a question, but just dropped like a really nice message on the Twitter and Reddit posts, just saying thank you for doing great music. You guys all made my day. Thank you so much. I am a very small creator online in terms of my following and reach. I haven't quite figured out how to do the whole online thing yet. So if you like what I do, I'd really appreciate like subs on YouTube, follows on Twitter, whatever it might be, TikTok as well. because I'm trying to grow what I do here, and I'd love to do more content like this. If you liked this, please let me know in the comments, or if there's any other content that you would like me to make, then also just let me know what you want to see from me. You can click somewhere around my head for a playlist on all the songs that I've done. You can also stream a bunch of my music on streaming platforms too. All links for that are in the description as well. And with that said, I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Bye 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 bye. Love you. Bye.